Assalamu alaikum. The questioner is asking, what were the activities against Islamic principles that took place at Ali Paglas shrine, which led to its vandalization in Bangladesh by a nearby mosque? So I don't know who this Ali Pagla is, who he was, first of all, and what his shrine looked like in Bangladesh. I know that Bangladesh recently went through a transition, and there's a new leadership now, and a lot of Muslims want Islamic law there. So I'm guessing this is like a shrine where there's like a structure built over the grave, and the Islamic position is that these structures need to be leveled and flattened. And this is mentioned in Sahih Muslim, Hadith 2115, where Ali radiallahu anhu said to Abu al-Hayyaj al-Asadi, "Shall I send you on the same mission as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent me? Do not leave any image without erasing it, and do not leave any raised grave without leveling it." So under Islamic law, we are ordered to level these shrines. And the wisdom is that these shrines don't benefit the dead. All the dead people are equal in the grave. They're either being punished or rewarded for their deeds and belief in life. So when you have some graves in a cemetery that are raised and other ones that are just normal flat dirt, you're giving the wrong message. Secondly, it's a waste of money. You know, you could be using that money for charity instead of beautifying the grave. The graveyard for us Muslims is supposed to be a reminder of Allah and the hereafter, and it should strike fear in us, because in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, frequently remember the destroyer of pleasures, which is death, because death ends all the illusions of pleasure in this life, and then reality kicks in. So when you beautify the graves with a shrine, and people are going there and they're admiring it, oh yeah, look, this is a beautiful grave. Sometimes they even worship these graves. And that's why these shrines are built. It doesn't have to happen over 1 or 2 generations. It could happen over several generations. There are people who worship the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at his grave, for example. So these are a couple reasons. It's also very egotistical. Like if a person who has a lot of money and he wants a big shrine built over his grave after he dies, this also sends the wrong message. This is very egotistical. We're not proud in Islam. We're very humble. And Allah mentions in the Quran, in chapter 26, I believe, the believers are those who, when the ignorant address them, they say, As-salam. The believers of Allah walk over earth humbly. So, let me see if I'm missing anything here. So anyway, it's an order of the Prophet ﷺ. It's in our Muslim majority country, Bangladesh. It's not to disrespect the person who's buried there. We're just abiding by the Messenger's ﷺ order of leveling the shrine. We're not desecrating the grave itself, especially if it's by a mosque, which is a place of worship. When you build graves in mosques, I'm pretty sure there's another fatwa against that. You're attributing some of your worship to the grave potentially. You know, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to happen over 1 or 2 generations. Actually, building a mosque next to the graves or like on a grave is not recommended at all. Let me see if I missed anything else here. It pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah, so fancy graves are not something we encourage in Islam. Oh, the Prophet's grave, sallallahu. The Prophet's grave is an exception. There is a structure built around it. I mean, it's within the mosque, I believe. But it's to protect it and preserve it, because there have been people who have tried to infiltrate it and desecrate it. There was a story about 2 Jews or 2 Christians who, even a couple miles away from it, started digging a tunnel under the ground to try and get into the room where it's at, so that they can check and see if the body is 100% preserved. They might have even desecrated it, because in Islam we believe the Prophet's body has not decayed. None of the Prophet's bodies decay. And miraculously, the Prophet ﷺ went to the leader in that time in a dream and warned him about this, and they found those 2 and executed them. So he is an exception to the rule. Assalamu alaikum.